Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Photography Chat, Season 2, Episode 34. We're going to have Birgit joining us here shortly, and hope everyone is having a great Wednesday so far. It's been pretty mellow here, getting some nice weather in Vancouver, and we'll see if we can get Birgit on here with it. There she is. Okay, let's go. Right. Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
What's it like in New York today?
Um, well, it was a crazy night.
Is it crazy? Why is that?
Um, I don't know if you saw that there were a lot of floods and
No.
yeah, it was crazy weather and all the streets and subway stations were flooded and it was kind of chaotic.
That sounds
But
crazy. Did you get caught up in any of
yeah.
the flooding or?
Um, Sort of. I mean, I was out last night in a jazz club and didn't know that. Well, I mean, I knew there was a storm coming, but I didn't know the extent of it, and didn't realize until it started kind of dripping into the venue a little bit.
Oh no.
So, and then yeah, after that we saw how crazy it was, and everything was shut down, and Ubers weren't driving, and it was madness. But today was kind of like it was a nice day, and it just was a little bit of the aftermath, and um, yeah,
No. I mean, just on top of the pandemic and all that, why not
right,
have
right.
the flooding?
Let's deal with that too. Why not? Yeah.
Exactly. For people that have joined that may not be familiar with you, do you want to take a moment and just kind of say a little bit about yourself?
Sure, yeah. My name is Birgit, for whoever wonders how to pronounce it. I'm from Austria, and I am the general manager for Lomography in the USA. So I am in charge of the North American operations. I do the marketing PR and basically oversee our little tiny team in the US. And yeah, I'm a photographer and writer on my own in my own time as well. But um, my main thing is yeah, representing Lomography and overseeing our work here.
That's cool. I didn't know you were
Yeah.
a writer. What kind of stuff do you write?
I mean, a writer. I do write, but I don't. All sorts of things from like poetry, short stories, and essays, stuff.
That's very cool.
But
Do you mix those with your photography at all ever? Or?
everyone asks that, and of course, it would seem like that would be a cool idea. Somehow, it doesn't work for me. I can't mix those two. I mean, maybe I'll figure out a way at some point, but to me, those are two very different forms of expressions, and I feel like I use them very differently, and they don't really go together.
That's
Um,
fair.
yeah.
Says you like to keep them separated then.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, the writing is kind of what comes from the inside, and photography to me is reflecting the outside, and dealing with um, people and the world around me, and the writing is very personal, and I think that's two separate things for me.
That's
Yeah.
I can understand that. I don't really like
Yeah.
to mix writing with the photography.
You write as well?
A little bit. Mostly just like getting stuff out of my head, and I don't really like
Right.
mixing the photos with the words. And then there's a
Yeah.
bit of like emo stuff from like the early 2000s that I wrote on DeviantArt that's still floating around out there that kind of embarrassing, but yeah,
Yeah.
you got to start somewhere, right?
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
So how did you get started with photography? I'm guessing it was when you were still in Austria, or
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that my, passion for photography goes way back. I think it started with, I know my grandfather took a lot of photos, but he died when I was 5 or 6. So my father had some of his cameras and stuff, and I think after his death, he got into it a little bit, and then he kind of like took my older sister on and showed her a little bit, how an SLR works, and um, taught her a little bit about that. And then I wanted in on that too. And maybe for the attention of my dad, I don't know, but it was like the one thing that we could bond over. And so he got me an SLR off eBay so that I could try that too. And I think I was maybe 7 or 8 and, started trying it out. And I really liked it. And so this was on film. And then later on in school in Austria, based in high school, you kind of already have to pick a school with a certain major. So you would already decide, what direction you want to go into, whether it's, um, I don't know, cooking or economy or whatever. And I went to a school that was focusing on photography and graphic design. And because it was a hobby of mine, photography, and I liked the creative expression of it. And this was all digital at that point. And while I think I was good at it and I liked it, it still somehow changed how I felt about photography during those years. And it kind of a little bit ruined it. There was also, in school, there's always the competition, and you like compare yourself with with other students, and then on top of that, the learning Photoshop and all the possibilities and everything you can do with editing, and it just felt very overwhelming, and I felt like I was never done with a photo, and I was never happy with it. I always felt like I could do more, it could be better, and that's when I sort of stepped away from it a little bit and focused more on the writing. And took I like to take photos when I was traveling or stuff, but I didn't really pursue it anymore. And then focused on writing, studied English literature, and did all sorts of things, but eventually looked for a job and found a position for an intern at Lomography in the headquarters in Vienna for a marketing internship, which was mainly, or a big part of it was writing for their magazine. And I was, to me, that was like, oh, this is the perfect combination. I can be writing, but about a topic that I'm interested about. So that's how I knew about Lomography, and I knew a little bit, about their products, and I thought it was cool. But really only starting this internship, it kind of like opened this whole new world to me, and this analog community that I all of a sudden explored, that showed me a way of using photography that I didn't know was so common, and showed me that what I really like about photography is mainly I can achieve with just shooting on film. And that takes away all that pressure of trying to make things perfect, and all that pressure of post editing, and all these things. And it was such a relief to see that. And also I really I just started appreciating the medium, the analog medium, for what it is, and for the craft and all the whole processes. And that's when I finally, it opened my eyes to what I like about photography. And from there, it was just shooting film, trying different cameras, trying all sorts of things, and exploring and experimenting. And now I'm at a point where I feel like I'm very happy how I can work in photography without having the pressure to use my own work, to make money with my own work. So I can keep my own photography to myself, and try things out however I want.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's so. Thank you for sharing how you got started on there and everything. I did notice though a bunch of the sample photos that you sent me, a lot of them were instant photos. So,
Hmm.
what got you into shooting instant, like with Polaroid and whatnot?
Um, I think it was also through lomography, through our instant cameras. Around the time I started there, we had just launched the Lomo Instant Square, which I am still a big fan of. I think in a lot of ways a very underrated camera.
I use mine almost every day.
Yeah, it's great. It's so much fun, and um, so it came with the job that I tried that, and I really like it because um, it's funny, right? Because on the one hand, we like analog photography because we or I do. I like that I have to wait until I see the photo. But it's nice to have, also the option to shoot instant. And for me, um, I'm trying to think. I do shoot Polaroid film as well. I like the look of Polaroid a lot.
Mhm.
Especially when I got my instant or Polaroid back for the RB. That was kind of a game changer, and it's just yeah, it just has a certain look that I feel like is unique, and that I wanna shoot as long as I can, because there's so many things in this analog world that you don't know how long you'll be able to do it.
Absolutely, yeah. Like it's I do like the Polaroid film a lot too. Like I'm a real sucker for like the SX70s,
Yeah,
SLR 680s, and then I just saw they announced the new Now Plus, which is like the new Bluetooth I-type camera, which looks pretty interesting. Like, um, about to see. Oh, we got a question here.
right.
Instant Flamingo asks, "Will we ever see a lomography product for Polaroid film?"
I don't think so. We all our instant cameras work with Fuji Instax film, and I think it makes sense because we are focusing our cameras on having a lot of creative options, and a lot of stuff to play around with, and that just works better with more reliable film. And like that's not to say that one is better or worse.
Shade
It's
thrown.
just no. I just said I love Polaroid film personally. I just think for the type of cameras that we make, with a lot of if you want multiple exposures and experimental stuff, then it's easier to achieve good photos with a film that is as natural looking as Fuji and Sticks. And it's it's just a film that we started using for our instant cameras, and I don't think that we'll go a different route.
Yeah, and imagine like Polaroid may not be super interested in licensing the rights to you guys making
That's
if you're making
Yeah,
X camera.
yeah. There's a niche for all of us, and I think to a certain point we all need to stay in our little corners, and give each other the space to coexist. And I don't think we should all like cross wires.
Well, I do
So
have to say that you guys, your cameras, um, do justice to the Instax format. Like Instax is such a beautiful film, and Fuji cameras are steaming piles of garbage for the most part. Like they're just not great. But that Lomography Square is just so beautiful. It's a great
mm,
camera. And
yeah, thank you. Yeah.
yeah, I really I use that one the most for like giving away photos to people.
Hmm.
Um, Giving away Polaroids is way too expensive.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Instax Square is a little more economical,
Yeah.
and that your guys' camera is just great. The zone focusing took a little while to get used to, though.
Yeah. That's definitely something to get used to, but I feel like once you get it, um, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, the first couple of packs of film that I shot in it were all kind of blurry while I
Mm.
figure out how to get it, but it's a great camera. I highly recommend it to anyone that wants to get into shooting something a little bit more fun with the Instax medium.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very cool. Um, do you have any like projects you've been working on outside of like the lomography world, or?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I always shoot for myself. Most of the times it's not that try, I don't really have concepts in mind. I shoot whatever I feel like. Sometimes things, develop through, or I see a pattern in what I've been shooting, and then I kind of, keep that in the back of my head and do that. I guess the last like series that I shot was also, it's already a little while ago. That was last September. Um, during, or like right after, museums started to open up again in New York, and I went to the Met Museum for the first time after the pandemic. And after I left and, felt inspired by what I had just seen, I walked down on the Upper East Side and, noticed how, because I hadn't been to that area during the whole pandemic, and I noticed how different it felt there than compared to Brooklyn or other parts of Manhattan further south. Um, it was still very empty and still very dead, and I saw, a lot of those like luxury boutiques were closed down, and a lot of empty storefronts. So I started taking photos of those, and then it kind of became this little thing. I always liked playing with reflections a lot when I shoot in the streets. And with that, I felt like, oh, this is what I aesthetically like, but also, with context and with a meaning in it a little bit. So I started shooting that series and ended up publishing it through the Float magazine, which was nice, because I think that was the first time that I actually tried to submit a body of my work, and was excited to get it out there.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So that's the only thing you've published then, or have you had other things you've done?
There were like a few photos here and there over the years, but this was the first like series, I guess, that I even tried to put out, that somehow developed. Normally, I just, as I said, I try to keep my photography like personal, and I just shoot whatever I like. And this just somehow happened, and I was like, oh, maybe this could be something that, works for other people as well in a series. So I sent it out. Yeah.
Is that something that people can still find or obtain, or?
I believe so. I believe it's still on the Float magazine if you probably Google Float magazine and my name. It's also on my website, and it's called Available Space.
Okay. And what's your website if people want to check it out?
That's my first and last name.com, birgitbuchart.com. And
excellent.
Yeah, it's on my Instagram bio, because no one will know how to write that.
Well, if you're not following Birgit already, please do. Or did I say that right?
Yeah, you said it right.
Okay. I'm terrible with names, so I'm glad I didn't.
Everyone's terrible with my name, so I'm not mad about it.
It's great though, because you don't have a name that's like linked to something that people like to make a joke about all the time. Is there?
I do get a lot of beer jokes.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's I had a friend who tried to tell people, and I should not say this here, but who made that connection with my name, and then it became his thing. But yeah.
I think I would rather beer jokes than wizard jokes, though, honestly.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's better. True, though.
Are you a fan of beer, or?
Yeah, as an Austrian citizen, I'm kind of supposed to, and I am. Yeah.
So you're obligated to, as like citizenship.
Yeah.
Nick Collingwood says, "Poor Birgit."
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Nick.
So, Austria to New York, like how did that end up happening?
Yeah, that was crazy, and to me, that was still my biggest achievement. Something I'm very grateful for. It's not necessarily my achievement. It was a lot of luck, but I always had as so many people around this world, this dream of New York. And I first came to New York while I was at university in Munich, while I was studying. I studied English literature, and part of the bachelor degree, in order to get the bachelor's, they required us to spend at least 2 months in an English-speaking country. And so I took that opportunity and was like, okay, I'm gonna go to New York finally, and I'm gonna, fulfill this lifelong dream of spending a good amount of time in the city and get to know it and experience it. And at the same time, I kind of, I expected that to be it, and expected to be maybe disenchanted a little bit by experiencing it in reality. And so I came here by myself and spent 3 months here, and just, I don't know, completely fell in love with the city and the people, and the communities that I got to know in Brooklyn and in the art world. And I even more so, this dream all of a sudden became, something that seemed to be achievable. And I decided that I really, wanted to try it. So after I went back and graduated, I came back to New York for 3 months and tried to get a job, somehow, be able to stay and without getting married. And that didn't work out. So after that, I moved back and kind of gave up and was like, okay, well, I guess I had 6 months in total in New York. That was, that's more than most people can say. It's fine. It was great. I'm going to move to Vienna, Austria, and that's my plan B, basically, and find a good job. And that's when I came across the lomography job. And at that point, I was even hesitant to take it because it was an internship, but it sounded really cool. So I made this other compromise and took on an internship. And 2 months in or so, I heard from a coworker that the marketing position in New York was going to open up, and that I should apply because she knew that I loved to be here. And I was like, I just started here, and I didn't really think it was an option or a possibility, but I did apply, and I sent my application in, and I didn't really hear anything for a while and wasn't sure. And I didn't also at the headquarters, as an intern, I didn't really, know the higher ups that well at that point. I was very new. And one day, all of a sudden, my boss basically came in and asked me for a meeting, and kind of just said, yeah, so we think we can do that, and we think we can get you like a proper visa, and like, would you be down to move in like a month? And I was like, okay, I guess. And yeah, I immediately said yes. And then it just, yeah, it worked out. And 2 months later, I was here, and I still sometimes can't believe it. That was a lot of just really like good timing, and yeah.
That's pretty amazing. So how long have you been with Lomography then?
So I started at the headquarters in 2017 in the summer, and then in January 2018 I moved here.
Wow.
And yeah, and then it all was pretty quick. And then here it's a pretty small team, so it only takes one person to leave and you move up, and then
yeah.
So that's how I ended up where I am now.
That's it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like that's so. And it's neat to be part of like this this film renaissance as well too. Like,
oh my God, yeah.
How has that been from like the side of like lomography to watch this like new film era kind of take off?
To me, it was very exciting. It was even alone the move from Vienna to New York was so exciting to see the difference. I feel like there was definitely a difference in seeing how big the community in New York and the US and is compared to Europe still. It's still, I feel like, the US is still one or two steps ahead in that trend. And so it was quite a shock when I came here, and all of a sudden it was this huge community, and, meetings and gatherings and events going on everywhere. And it was just so, that was a beautiful experience to begin with. And then since 2018, it was amazing to see how it, shifted from it more and more into from this like still pretty niche fun thing, and to literally, it feels like everyone now shooting film, whoever has a camera shooting film, and also seeing more professionals going back to film, one, and secondly also coming to lomography for film, and kind of like starting to appreciate lomography film as, not only this fun whatever film that some people try to make some experiments with, but like actually shooting it for bigger projects. And I feel like it's gaining so much value and so much respect in the community, and that's really exciting. And yeah, and over the years, or since I started here, we've launched so many new products and expanded the catalog and ranges so much that it's been really exciting to see, from going from instant cameras back to more 35 and 120 film, and then another like push in like other formats like 110, and the Lomographlok, like all these things are just like, to see how it's opening up to a bigger range of analog products is really exciting.
You so the Graflok is an interesting one, because I had someone message me being like, you should ask her the delays on Graflok. Any comment? No comment?
I normally leave those comments to our customer service team because they actually know better. But as far as I know, everyone who pre-ordered and who was supposed to receive it in August already got an email with an update. And there were issues. We're not gonna lie. There were unforeseen logistical bumps in the road, as a lot of companies are experiencing also with COVID. And I know that, first in the when you develop a product like this and you get the first prototypes, people get very excited and they see, oh, it's already there, they're using it. But that's a testing stage where we can still come across, little issues that we then feel like, oh, we want to make sure if there's, 3 out of 20 cameras that have a certain, or backs that have a certain issue, we want to make sure that's, not going to affect the whole batch that we're going to produce. So you try to, instead of rushing it, we tried to make sure everything's fine. That was one thing. And I think there might have been some delays as far as I know. And then I do know that the latest delay push was a logistical COVID situation. But they are on their way. And I got, I think I got like 2 units in the actual packaging, completely finished in the office. I have proof that they do exist and they work, and they're coming over now from our factories, and they will be sent out as soon as we have them, and we will deliver first to the people who ordered first, and go that way. And we of course are very sorry that it did take longer, but I think it's going to be worth the wait.
I agree. Jules Dillon says, nice shelves behind you.
Jules Dillon is my roommate who helped me build these shelves, so he just wanted to be very funny.
And, well, some self-promotion, I suppose.
Right.
And Stanley Phillips Film asks, will we ever see more lomography stores in the U.S.?
Maybe. Never say never. It's not planned at the moment, but maybe one day.
What about Canada?
Yeah, same thing. Do you want to open one? Is that
Sure.
what you?
Yeah, why not? Would we be able to get color 35 millimeter though?
Of course.
It's been kind of like color 35 millimeter is like completely dried up in Vancouver right now. It's been
Yeah.
really hard to find anything at the stores.
All all three, all ISOs, or
Yeah, like I heard that there's maybe one store that has some like Portra 160 left, but it's probably all gone by now.
okay. Well, there is we have an online shop. We deliver to Canada, and we have them all in stock.
All right, well, I guess I'm going to be hitting up
Yeah,
lomography.com later for some film.
right.
I am like pretty much tapped out of color 35 millimeter right now.
Yeah. What are you shooting right now?
I bought some of this like Kodak color
Ooh,
at a
yeah.
um, at
I
a.
got a whole stash back there too. Yeah.
I've never really shot with it before because I usually like shooting 400 film, so I've never really fucked with the Color Plus. But I did like the Agfa 200.
Hmm.
I used to shoot that when Agfa was still a thing. Kind of
Yeah.
sadly gone now.
Yeah. I do like the Color Plus. Yeah, don't say it too loud. It's still pretty cheap, so.
Yes, and then I've been shooting a lot of this Rolly Paul and Reinhold.
Oh, never shot that.
It's a cool one. So it was like a special edition that they released for their 100th anniversary, and the rolls are kind of funny because like this one's empty, but it comes with like two rolls, and one says Paul, the other one says Reinhold, because it's like the founders' names, and it's a 640 ISO black and
Hmm.
white, but you can push it to 1600, and it'll
Hmm.
really take it. So that's pretty cool. And then I do like shooting a lot of the Lomography 400,
Hmm.
which is that's a great film.
Yeah.
And I still get a lot of use out of the simple use camera that
Oh yeah?
sent up.
How many rolls have you shot with it?
Oh
Do you
man, I've
know?
probably put at least 20 rolls through it by now.
Okay. That's pretty good.
My
Yeah.
favorite roll to shoot through it, honestly though, is Cinestill 800.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's sacrilegious, but because like it's set for 400, it
Yeah.
exposes it really nicely.
Yeah.
I like shooting the Cinestill 800 for daylight street photography with it. It gets like this really cool kind
Interesting.
of like dreamy alien effect to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's good advertising for the simple use camera. That's
Yeah, so
great.
far it
20 rolls is pretty
has.
good.
Yeah, and like I'll still keep shooting. I don't know where I put it lately because like I've been shooting with this mostly lately. A friend
Hmm.
loaned me his M3, and I've been just sort of soaking up the Leica life while I can.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I got the Leica CL as, which is also kind of the not really Leica, but also
It's
Leica.
like the Minolta Leica, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm also only like a half-fast Leica shooter, but I do like it. I
I've
think
been.
it's great. I think it's compact, it's cute, tiny, and I like the how it's set up, how you have the wheel in the front, and
So you like the CL a lot then?
yeah, I do like it a lot.
Because there's one for sale in Vancouver here that I've been kind of debating because it's like a decent price, and it'd be kind of cool to have like your own Leica, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, I do dig the Zorky, and I blame the Zorky for wanting a real Leica because after I started playing with the Zorky, I was just like, okay, I get it. I like these like little
Mm,
rangefinders. They're really nice for doing the street stuff, and
yeah.
um, yeah, it's pretty cool. The M3 has been like super nice though. I'm gonna be really sad when I have to give it back.
Yeah.
But
Can always try to trade something.
no, so he's been very clear about that.
Okay.
It was a gift from one of his good friends. So he's just like, I don't like shooting film, but it was a gift. So I'm not going to get rid of it. And then he's like, this is how much it'll cost you if you fuck it up. But no, like, oh no, I broke it. Here's money, and then you keep it because, like, he's like, I can already see that you're thinking.
Right.
Just, okay, I get it. You know.
Yeah.
But I think like the next big camera purchase I do will probably be an 8x10, not 35 millimeter.
Okay.
Which is another question I had for you: is will lomography ever get into large format film?
I mean, we did just make the 4x5 instant back,
Yeah,
so we kind of already, like peeked a little bit into the large format world. I can't promise anything, and I don't know, like there's nothing concrete right now that, but I do think that I personally am optimistic about how the analog world is, growing and film photography is growing. That I do think that large format will also see another, you know, bigger hype around it. So I'm optimistic, and I think yeah, I feel like at some point we might do that. But this is just my personal hope and positive attitude.
fingers crossed, because I'd love
Yeah,
to shoot some like Lomo 400 or even Lomo 800 and 4x5. That'd be amazing.
some Lomochrome.
Yeah, some Lomo Chrome.
I would love that.
The Lomo purple in 4x5 would be really friggin' cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, I agree.
I really like the Lomo purple. That's fun. And Metropolis easily. Like, oh man. Like if you guys did your films in 4x5, that would be so cool.
Right. Thank you. And thank you for saying that. I know the Metropolis is, not everyone's film, and that is totally fair, but I think it's so cool. I think it looks so fucking cool when you shoot, when you get it right, and
Yeah.
when the lighting is great, then it's just such a cool mood. I would
I
love to see that on 4x5.
I like the Metropolis more than Lomo purple, honestly.
Oh,
Um,
me too. Yeah.
I have to admit something here. So when you sent us the simple use cameras, they were supposed to be Metropolis cameras, um,
Yeah.
but they were purple, and
Yeah.
that was the first roll of purple I've ever shot. It wasn't the first roll of purple that I bought. I bought a ton of purple when it first came out, and then I was just like, it seems kind of gimmicky, and I gave it to my friend Becca. And I was like super stoked for the Metropolis simple use cameras because I love
Yeah.
Metropolis so much. Like it's just got such a moody feel to it. Like when you really nail it, it's just got like this beautiful vibe to it. Um, and when we were looking at the photos, after like the group, we were looking at the photos, and I was like, this is really a different kind of Metropolis.
Yeah.
And then John was like, I think this is Lomo Purple, and I'm like, I've never shot it, so I'm not
Right.
familiar. And
Well,
uh,
we're full of surprises.
it was a great surprise because
Yeah.
it made me like purple a bit more. So I've
Hmm.
shot a couple more rolls of purple since then.
I think it is interesting when you shoot purple without knowing it, because you would normally, be so specific about, what you shoot with this purple film, and you would try to get a lot of greens in there, and like probably, I feel like you would always think in that sense it's gonna turn these colors into these tones or whatever. And then it's sometimes really surprising how cool the photos come out when you don't really pay attention to that. You just
Yeah,
shoot it. And even for me, I still like when I shoot purple, I have to like consciously tell myself to not think that way, because it's at the end of the day, it's really hard to predict how exactly it'll look. And a lot of times those shots where I didn't think it would be awesome on purple, actually I like the most. So maybe that surprise simple use is actually something people should try.
yeah. You guys should do like a mystery simple use where it's like you have no idea what film is loaded.
Right.
It could just
Yeah.
whatever, and
Yeah.
you just have to go and like that would be kind of a funny one, just like a black camera with a question mark on it.
Right.
Um, and I
Load
also have to
it.
say, like, I think the purple with the simple use camera is a really neat mix too, because you have that really sort of soft, fuzzy plastic lens on it. Um, and with that film stock, it's just really interesting because it almost seems like a lot of the photos I ended up taking seemed like they could have been like years ago kind of thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was really hard to tell like when that photo was taken. And I think that's one of the things I really dig about the simple use camera. Like someone asked a question is like, what is the most expensive camera that you have? Um, and you can answer that if you feel comfortable, saying what expensive camera you have.
Um, that's a good question. It was probably I don't remember if the RB or the CL was more expensive. I think they were around the same. But the RB came with like two lenses, and the back. But yeah, I haven't spent more than 400 or 500 on a camera.
Well, you get off like a bandit then if you got the RB for that little.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I found the RB like with a Polaroid back and two lenses and all that stuff for I think for something in Vienna in Austria
yeah.
secondhand, and got it off. Yeah, that was pretty lucky.
You could probably use that for like a down payment on a house now.
No, it's not that bad.
It's not that
Um,
bad, but it's getting there.
right, right. Oh
Um,
yeah, but Nick knows until the Hassie comes. I'm kind of, I I want it, but I shouldn't, and it's probably not worth it, but also I really want it. Yeah, I've told him I'm debating, but yeah, one day maybe.
that's fair. I think like mine would be the Wista 4x5. That thing is probably the most expensive
Mm,
one. But on that like thing of like most expensive camera, I don't think really like how expensive a camera is denotes like how good the pictures you'll get out of it are. Like
oh
um,
yeah.
I think like out of all the cameras that I have, which it's too many and I don't want to admit how many there are, um, the simple use camera is in like the top 5 cameras that I have that I love shooting with, and it's like the cheapest one out of all of them. It's just like a janky piece of plastic, but the photos that come out of it are just
Yeah,
so rad. Like
yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I also like, again, because I don't photograph professionally, I don't have to, do a job with like, to me, if a photo is good, it's so much more than um, if it's objectively good. I feel like some of my still favorite photos that I have were like one of the first rolls I shot in New York on the LCA, not knowing what I was doing, and but just at the end of the day, it's, if you love when you love a photo, it's because of you were there in that moment, or it's
Yeah.
something important. And I feel like sometimes we forget that that's such an important part, and we spend $500 on a point and shoot to just take around and like document our friends and their lives, which I'm also guilty of. But then those are the photos where the ones that I really like are actually, they're good because of the experience and the memories. And I
Yeah.
could have done that with a simple use, for sure.
Um, Photo photography asks, when should someone get rid of a camera from their collection? What are your thoughts on that?
When you shouldn't ask me that because I have not gotten rid of any camera yet.
That's
I want to say something rational, like when you haven't shot it in 3 months, or, maybe a year, but I can't really say that because I like can't get rid of cameras really. I'm trying to, but I feel like if you need the money and if it's worth it to sell it and you don't use it, there might be a reason, but also why not holding on to it?
I'd agree with that sentiment, and like also as like a camera hoarder that has way more cameras than a person needs. Um, I've been making more of an effort to get rid of cameras that I don't need or use, which is difficult sometimes because you get like you get attached to them. But I've kind of like set this thing where if it doesn't have a meaning to me, like if it isn't like connected to me like through a person or like a moment that's really important to me, or if I don't use it very often, and it's just like, it was like one of those like nice to have things. But then like I had a Nikon 35 Ti for like a year and a half, and total object of desire. Like the first time I saw one, I'm like, I need to have it. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous. And then I got one, and it was gorgeous. It was like, it's still the most beautiful thing I've held, and like got to play. I fucking hated it. It was so fucking like, I wanted to love it so much.
Yeah.
But two things that I hated with it and why it's gone and out of my life is, well, three things, but the main two were the fucking panorama switch on that son of a bitch is the worst. Like, so I stuffed it in my pocket one time and didn't notice that when I put it in my pocket, it flipped the panorama switch. 2 rolls of film have the stupid panorama gate on them because of the switch. So
yeah.
I ended up gaffer taping that switch up so that it could never ruin another roll of film when I had it. And then the other one is the autofocus on it is fucked. Like, unless you really pay attention and like learn how the autofocus works on it, you just end up with a bunch of blurry pictures on that thing. So, and that like also they were getting so damn expensive. So I was like, I'm gonna offload it before the price craters on them and people don't care about these cameras. I was also scared of the electronics because it's like such an electronic based camera that I was just like, there's going to be a day where like the on switch gets flipped on and it's just not going to do anything, and now there's like a $900 paperweight in front of you.
Right.
So I sold that one because of that, and I just ended up using it because like I used it a ton for the first few months, and then it just sat on a shelf for like a year. And I was like, it just needs to go to someone else so that someone else can use it before it dies. So I guess like that's when to sell a camera. If you don't end up using it, or you have like, it's like an irrational thing with it, just get rid of it. The Instantgram asks, what aspect ratio speaks to your soul? Squares, 6x17.
You mean 6x7? I I think about that a lot since I want to buy a Hasselblad and I'm now shooting the RB. That's the problem. I like both, and like that's why I couldn't replace the RB. There's different. A square photo has a different. I would go about taking that differently than a 6x7 photo, and I do like both. I might like 6x7 a little bit more, but then you do get more out of a roll 6x6, so that's also really cool. That's like, I can't decide.
That's a tough one because like I just started shooting with a GW690 a lot, and you talk about like the difference between a 6x6 and a 6x7 on the rolls, but like his 6x9 is brutal. Like you only get shots, and like the 6x6 is nice because like you do get 12 shots out of the roll, and it's kind of like a nice bonus. And I've never shot 6x7 though.
Yeah, I think 6x7 is the golden format for me a little bit, but again, there's different cameras for different reasons, and I want them all.
That's fair. So what's been like this is a 2-part. What's your favorite camera that you have that you like to shoot with all the time? And what's like your great white buffalo camera? Like the one that like you think about all the time, that just maybe just out of like grasp kind of thing.
Right. I think that's what I was just comparing. I think the RB is it's the camera that I currently have and love the most. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean I use it the most, because I think just going about my life. The camera that I always have on me is the T4 or the CL, or both. But what I enjoy most is shooting the RB. And right now I feel like the Hasselblad 500 cm is what I just really wish I could just have for a little bit, maybe, and explore more. And maybe it turns out it's not actually worth it. But I would like to shoot that some more.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything you've ever wanted to experiment with that you haven't had a chance to try out? Yeah, like different like processes or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. I would like to learn, like, do more printing and darkroom. I mean, I've done it and I really enjoyed it. There's it's a whole new thing. Like, there's so much you can practice and learn and do, that I just started. I had asked my parents for Christmas in 2019 for a darkroom class membership, whatever, here in Brooklyn. And they got me that. And then I went to one introduction course, and then the pandemic started. So that's where I feel like I need to pick that back up. I want to learn, I want to practice that more and learn that more. I think it's such a cool process. And I'm still annoyed with my school that they never taught us how to print.
Oh yeah, because it was all digital, you said.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, the darkroom is such it's such a magical place to be able to like spend time in there. And I'm also a little miffed at the pandemic for like robbing darkroom time from me, like, because it was also like one of the reasons why I ended up leaving Toronto, was just because of the pandemic and like how much it took away. But there was like a really cool gallery space in Toronto that had like a dark room that you could rent out, and used to spend so much time in there just like making prints. But then it was also fun to, like, if someone's like, hey, I want to try darkroom printing, it's like, you know what, like, I'll rent the darkroom, come on, we'll we'll go wander around, shoot a roll, and then we'll go develop it and then print those photos that you just shot. And yeah, it was a bummer. I have all the stuff to build a darkroom. I just
Me too.
Oh, you
have yeah, I got someone, my dear friend and old boss, Frank, who used to work for Lomography, moved to Dubai in 2019, and I asked him if I could store his enlarger for him in case he wants to move back, and one day, it would still be here, and I would obviously use it meanwhile. But I just have it here, and I could, try harder to make something happen, and I should. That's one thing for sure.
What's that? With a tub?
Yeah, we would have a room where we could do that. I don't know, I also have 4 roommates, so we would have to, they have to be cool with that, but it's possible. Yeah. And then the other thing that I kind of started this summer, and what I want to experiment more with is Super 8 or motion picture in general. I think I was told last weekend, after I had developed my first 2 or 3 Super 8 rolls, and then a friend of mine was like, okay, I think it's time for you to move on to 16. And I was like, okay, one step at a time. I think that was so much fun to try out, and I was so happy with seeing the results, and now I'm very excited to do it more deliberately, because so far I've just tested out the camera and shot whatever. Nick Collingwood is super happy about that. He gives me a lot of tips, and yeah, and now I really wanna try more of that. That's so much fun.
That's awesome. Do you think Lomography would ever get into making like 8mm, 16mm photos?
We did at some point. We had purple and I think turquoise in 16 and some Super 8, I think. 16 for sure. we haven't had those in a few years, but that doesn't mean it couldn't come back. I think there's a
And you said a magic word there, and I have to ask the question because Brandy would not forgive me if I didn't ask it. Will Turquoise ever come back?
um I don't know. I mean, I maybe I don't know. I think we can. What we do know is that Lomo always says never say never, and we do, listen to the community and see what, and when we hear, requests a lot, we see if we can make it happen. If it's possible and if it's feasible, we will do it. So basically, I can just say whoever wants Turquoise back, actually reach out and let us know. Help at lomography.com, Instagram, whatever. It does help to get that feedback, and then anything's possible.
All right, I'll get Brandy to start a campaign to get.
Right.
She'd be all excited for it.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you're gonna do more experimentation with filmmaking then on film?
Yeah. I wanna try more. And again, this is just me trying to be, creative for my own sake. I would love to experiment more with that. And it's a very different approach too than, taking photos, taking stills, I think. And that's kind of interesting to explore because you don't see, in a photo, I feel like I need to, there's this one moment and this one photo needs to work on its own. And when you have that Super 8 camera or film camera, it makes you never forget the bigger picture. So you kind of see everything you shoot in the context of other scenes, and that's kind of exciting to just to think that way. And so that's I like that. I like that experiment.
That's very cool. KMX Well says Birgit is the best.
Yeah. Well, it's all my friends.
Well,
Thank you.
Yeah, that's exciting. So do you find being in New York that it's encouraged you to be more creative or more inspired at all?
Oh, yeah, 100%. So much more. And it's partly the city itself that to me is just very inspiring. And, as I said, it was always this dream. And but it's to a big extent, it's also just the people that I meet here and seeing what everyone around me is doing and working on. And that's so awesome. And people are so open to talking about their own projects. And that's very inspiring for sure. That community. That's and that also pushes you to actually do something, right? Because I feel like before I moved here, I felt like I had a lot of ideas and I never had the courage to really start or try. And then I came here and people are like, oh yeah, I wanted to make a scene, so I just made one. And it was also it was this whole, I didn't know that, oh, you just want to have a photo book, so you just make it yourself. And you want to have a gallery, so you just ask someone to host it. You can just do it. And that's that's a big motivation for sure, and inspiration.
That's very cool. Instagram says, Birgit, YouTube channel, please.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna.
You don't want to break out into YouTube?
No.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for the invite to be on the Instagram's YouTube channel. That's maybe he meant that. I'm happy to join that, but I'm not gonna start my own.
Aw, he gave the little sweet face there. Maybe that's what he meant.
Yeah, probably.
I tried doing the blogging thing and just didn't like it. He says it's happening.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're going to be on the YouTube channel. That's really exciting. So what's been your favorite part of New York so far?
Say that again, sorry.
What's been your favorite part of New York so far?
My favorite part of like the life in New York, or do you mean?
Well, just like your yeah, we could split it up into a couple different. So it's like your favorite parts of New York, but like your favorite like
Okay.
experience, like
Mm.
thing that you've done or had happen in New York so far.
Uh, so my favorite parts of New York, like I there's so many great places here. That's the whole beauty of New York is that you know go from one neighborhood to the next and it feels like a completely different city. Um, I'm in Bed-Stuy. I love it here. I think it's a wonderful neighborhood and but I also like to, you know, spend a weekend in the city and go like at the end of the day I'm still a tourist, so I like to still go to Central Park and all these places and yeah, there's so many. I love the Marsha P. Johnson Park is one of my favorite spots in Williamsburg to watch the sunset. Um, and Prospect Park is a good destination. Yeah, there's so much in New York. And for the experience, I don't think I can pick something. Um, I think I still have that every week or so that I find myself somewhere, um, and you know, it hits me again that I'm like, oh my God, like remember where you are on the map of this world and like who's around you and like all these people around you and like I just still can't believe it. So I think that yeah, New York is still such an experience every day, I feel like, and all these meeting so many interesting and beautiful people all the time is just still an adventure.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I can only imagine that. Like I still haven't had a chance to head to New York yet. It was sort of on the
Well,
plans and then COVID. Um,
right. Well,
but
maybe soon.
yeah, hopefully in the new world, I'm double vaxxed and just waiting for shit to calm down.
Yeah.
Um, Nick Collingwood wants to know favorite slice of pizza.
Um, I I'm at the heart still a European, so I'm not gonna pick a slice. Um, I like Italian pizza, good Italian pizza. Favorite place is this place Santa Panza in Bushwick, Bed-Stuy. Um, awesome restaurant, great delivery, super quick, great Italian pizza.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll have to check that out when
yeah,
I finally do make it down to New York. That'd be amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Um, I had a question and then it just totally
And
escaped
then
me.
we talked about pizza.
Yes, we did talk about pizza, and then I was just like
Um,
starting to get hungry. So is like New York your long-term place where you're planning on staying, or is there like somewhere that you have in mind that once you spend some time in New York, you want to like take off and experience another place?
um, no, there's not really that second goal that I have that where I want to go. Someone just asked. I'm originally from Austria. I grew up in Salzburg, Austria. I I always thought I would hit other cities first. Like I love that. I love Paris. I like Berlin, or I liked Berlin a lot a few years ago. Um, I I always thought that I would, you know, stop in London first, and I always kind of had that idea of I want to live in all these cities, and then at some point in my life, you know, way in the future, I'll the end goal is going to be New York. So now that I like kind of like started with New York, I'm like that's it. I don't want to live anywhere else really. So I don't think so. I always say, or I tell my parents and people at home, there's always the possibility for, you know, for me to be over New York at some point, or that I get tired of it. It is, at the end of the day, it's a very exhausting city. So who knows? But right now I can't really, or I don't want to imagine living anywhere else.
Juan from Beers and Cameras says that he's headed to New York September 29th, October 3rd. He wants to get pizza.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, let's get
You guys
pizza.
could do a Beers and Cameras lomography thing.
Yeah. If you can come a little bit earlier, September 26th, there might be something going on in New York with photo stuff that we will announce soon. And there's going to be pizza too.
Well, there you go, Juan. You need to come
Yeah,
3 days
yeah,
earlier.
change
And,
that flight.
there you go. That'll be interesting, and I'll definitely keep you posted for a trip to New York because that'll definitely like when travel becomes something that is a little easier and less risky. Um, it's on my list of places to hit. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, that's.
yeah. You're in Toronto, right?
I used to be in Toronto.
Oh,
I
shit.
just moved to Vancouver
Oh,
in May. So,
yeah, yeah. Also haven't been to Vancouver. I really want to go.
well, if you ever end up
Love
in
to.
Vancouver, would be
Yeah,
more happy to host you and show you around.
yeah.
Uh, it's a little sleepier than Toronto, but we have mountains and ocean here, so
Everything you need. Yeah,
it's something that Toronto doesn't have. Toronto has
yeah,
like so much great stuff, but they don't have mountains. They do have a big body of water, but it's nothing like the ocean. Lake
yeah,
Ontario is like it sort of pales in comparison.
yeah.
Um, and it's absolutely gorgeous here. Like still not used to the time zone right now. Like it's still super
Mm.
bright out, but like in my mind it's like nighttime still. So
Still.
yeah, I haven't completely from the Toronto time yet.
You moved in May?
I moved in May, but like so I work remote for Dell,
Okay.
and I'm still supporting the Toronto district, so my work hours are still like on like East Coast time. So I haven't adjusted to Pacific time because I'm still operating in East Coast time, which is so much fun.
Yeah.
Montreal has little mountains not too far. I mean,
Montreal is the only is the one Canadian city that I've actually been to, and it was
oh,
beautiful.
Montreal
Yeah.
is beautiful. How long did you go there for?
Oh, just like a weekend, maybe a long weekend,
Oh,
at some point. Yeah, that was when I was just visiting New York. I took a bus there for a weekend and like couch surfed and um had someone show me around. It was great. It was really nice.
it Montreal is like a really cool. It has such a neat vibe because it's like one of our oldest cities in Canada. Like it's
Mm.
I think like Quebec City, Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto are like some of our older cities on the east side there. And it has like a really cool vibe, and the food is fucking
Oh
amazing. In
yeah.
Montreal. So much good food
Oh
there.
yeah. What's
Yeah.
that fry thing with all the shit on it?
Oh, a poutine.
Oh, so good. That was great. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's that's a great one too. Like the yeah, poutine out there is like fantastic, and
Yeah.
all of the yeah, all the food there is great. And I miss Montreal. Like that's another one of those places I wanted to spend more
Mm.
time in before COVID hit, and it kind of wrecked that. But
Yeah.
and I think there's a really good photography scene that's in the Montreal area as well too. Like they've got a couple of camera stores there that
Hmm.
I bought Lomo Purple at one of them.
Nice. Do you remember what store that was?
Um, shit, what was it? I want to say Galaxy Camera, but I think that's in Ottawa. Montreal Photo Store. Let's see. It wasn't Luzo.
Well, it's
Oh, it was Photo Saint Denis.
oh yeah. I do know them. They're a customer. Nice.
Yeah, and they're in a really cool part of town too. There's lots of neat restaurants like right around where they are. Um, Yeah, I would always like try and pop in there whenever I was in Montreal.
Nice. Yeah, I should go back for sure, and yeah, see more of Canada, definitely.
Oh, and then someone says Studio Argentique. That's a cool one if you want like used cameras.
Mm.
But the guy's kind of grumpy there. So, and the price changes. I asked him about like a piece there that had like one price tag on it, and then when he picked it up and was like showing it to me, the price that he told me verbally was like $40 more than the price tag that was just like sitting right on the piece there. So it's
Oh,
like,
interesting.
cool. I'm not gonna buy from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, people get kind of weird like that. But yeah, definitely, should check out more of Canada. Have you had a
Yeah.
chance to explore much of the U.S. since you've been there?
Yeah, still not enough. It's too big. But yeah, I've been trying to, see more. At the first year that I lived here, my mom came to visit, and we did a road trip from like Nashville to New Orleans, and then I went to the Carolinas, DC, um, California. So yeah, there's a few places I've seen, plenty more that I haven't, and um, that I'm excited to see at some point. I'm gonna go to Denver in September for work, which is
Oh,
cool because I would not have been my first destination otherwise. But I'm really excited now, and there's
Denver
so
is
much.
great. They have lots of great marijuana and also great barbecue, I hear. They like
Okay.
barbecue. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
it's you can have a dispensary and then a barbecue joint.
Okay. Or the other way around, but yeah.
Yeah, either way there. That's cool. What do you guys have like an event that you're doing in Denver then, or?
There's a trade show that we're participating in for pro photo.
And Waster
Yeah.
Silver makes a great point. You're going to see the Rocky Mountains, which are
Yeah.
freaking amazing. Um,
Yeah. What do I shoot them with?
um, you're 6'7".
Hmm,
Yeah, six
right.
seven with you could probably do like the 400. That'd probably be like a good
Yeah.
roundabout film for that.
Yeah.
Get some nice colors out of it and get those big landscapes.
Yeah.
Or rent a X-Pan
Mm,
and then get some like really big panos.
right. Yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm excited to see that. I'm only there for a few days, but I hope I can drive around a little bit.
Yeah, the mountains are something else. Like, I grew up in the part of the Rocky Mountain Range that's here in Canada, and it goes all the way down like the west coast. It's a pretty huge range and
Hmm.
quite
Yeah.
stunning. Yeah.
6x7 Ektachrome actually. I'm a big Ektachrome fan, which
Really?
some people don't understand. Yeah.
So with the Ektachrome, like, do you use a warming filter with your Ektachrome, or do you just
No,
use
it just
it as
just shoot it like it is. It just yeah. Always I'm surprised how much I like the photos when I get them.
I might have to give Ektachrome another shot because I did one roll of it when everyone was like all hyped up about like Ektachrome coming back, and it just felt too cold.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean obviously it also there's some the scanning, it depends on the scanning a little bit to nail that. But yeah, I think it has this like it has a unique mood, and maybe it's something that works for weirdly for like what I want to shoot. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I always feel like, oh, it has something that I didn't really foresee, but it kind of makes it better. Maybe it's just the surprise of it,
Nothing wrong with surprises.
right?
So throw a warming filter on it like an 812 or an 85. I may have to give that a shot and just see
Yeah,
if that makes a difference because
yeah.
um, yeah, I I don't get too adventurous with films anymore though, like because I used to shoot all sorts of different stuff, and then I kind of just got used to picking a couple of different film stocks. But now that it's harder to find stuff, I've got to just sort of switch it up a bit.
Hmm.
Like order from lomography.com.
Exactly.
The first thing I'm gonna do as soon as I get off of
Right.
work.
Right. Have you shot any 110?
I have. I've
Hmm.
got like a little Minolta Zoom 110.
Cute.
Such a cool little thing. Like it's like this Lilliputian SLR. It's an amazing
Yeah.
thing. And I've shot the red scale on it, the purple, and I think it's a red scale purple and black and white.
Hmm.
And I really dig it. I still like a friend mailed me a bunch more 110 film because she bought it by accident and was like, "I'm never gonna use this stuff. Like, do you have a 110 camera?" So,
Right.
um,
Yeah. It's a fun little thing that I feel like people should try. It's just, there's only so many formats that we have, and I think it's sad if we don't make use of a format that is being produced, and it somehow also, yeah, I also for a long time like pushed it off, and I was like, I don't know, that's not for me. It's like too gimmicky or whatever, and like too small. And then I had to shoot a few roles for work, and then I like got them back. I was like, actually, this is kind of fun. I like it makes you, yeah, it makes you shoot differently again, and like and changes up your perspective, knowing that like what to expect, like how the photos are gonna look. It's kind of fun.
yeah, and those tiny little negatives are
Yeah,
kind of really interesting.
yeah.
Um, I was thinking of like trying to come up with like a zine idea or something to like just do it all on 110 and do um, like a 5x7 zine or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. New
Yeah,
ideas.
exactly. Well, I really appreciate you spending some time with me here, and
Yeah,
it's been really great chatting with you.
yeah. Thank you for having me. This is
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely. Like I apologize for the scheduling confusion there.
Oh, good.
Appreciate you, um, you know, being accommodating.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, did you have any other comments for the people out there? Or
Mm. um, Try some Lomo if you haven't. No, obviously, I would hope that people don't stop experimenting and try new things, and that's what we're here for. And I want to, for me personally, I want to say that I truly am still so grateful for this very welcoming and wonderful film photography community that we have here, and that's always so nice. And the fact that someone from a company like me and hobby photographer can like go on an Instagram live or whatever, and just talk about something, and people are not shitstorming you, and it's a very nice thing. And um yeah, I love when people reach out also to the Lomo accounts, and have conversations and communicate, and very very grateful for that community.
Well, yeah, like community is such an amazing thing. Like the film community, like the roll film community, instant film communities, like all the different film communities are such welcoming, amazing
Hmm.
communities. It's been a very humbling experience to be part of them, and also like Lomography, like the experience with you guys has been great. Like when I reached out about that thing last year, I was quite surprised that you guys were like down to work with like a small influencer. Like I don't have a great following or anything like that. Like I'm not like a 10K or 20K person, but you guys were like down to collaborate, which was really really cool, and I greatly appreciated that.
Yeah, of course. Feel like it helps more at the end of the day when you can help out, a few more little projects with, a couple of roles than having to sponsor like one big photographer for everything.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very cool. So if you have cool ideas, hit up Lomography, and
Yeah, send
maybe
over the ideas.
to work with you guys.
Yeah.
But Birgit, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really
Yeah.
appreciated this. It was great. Next week, I'm going to be having a photographer who I met randomly on a kind of hike in British Columbia here. She was on vacation in BC, and we had like a exchange about cameras, and we kept in touch over the Instagrams, and so she's going to be joining me to chat about her photography adventures, which is kind of like a cool thing with this community. Like, it's you never know what you're going to find with different film folks out there. So it should be fun next week. And thank you so much. I look forward to seeing, what kind of stuff you work on next, and what kind of stuff comes out of Lomography. I'm still going to keep my fingers crossed for 4x5.
Yeah, me too.
I'll email it and ask for it.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you
All
so
right.
much, and have a
Yeah.
great day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I appreciate you guys, and stay safe out there. All right.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.